how do we get here? There have been a lot of different live-action iterations of graphic novel characters throughout the years. Some are more memorable than others for the wrong reasons. But nonetheless, they happen. And every and any iteration these characters have received have in one way or another led us to the way we perceive movies today. So, how do we get here? In this series, we'll be talking about some of the old depictions of characters we know and love today. So, we're playing chicken with the nostalgia truck that is Smallville, Season 1. And to do this, I will try to split this video into two main points: the backstory on the show and the details on the pilot episode, and then I'll take on episodes 2 through 7 relatively the same, since they all deal with pretty similar plot structures. Backstory. Smallville was definitely a show before its time. The show's forerunners, Alfred Goh and Miles Millar, had worked on a lot of productions together beforehand, be it Martial Law, Time Cop, or even the movie Shanghai Noon. The idea behind the show is that they wanted Clark Kent to have a little bit of edge. This is ideally why we don't often see Clark wear a suit or sunglasses, because this Clark is cool. This ain't your Lois and Clark Superman. This ain't your Ripley Superman. This is America's Superman. A little thing to know is that the series pilot broke WB's record for the highest rated debut with 8.35 million viewers towards the end of the season. It was the #1 show with viewers under the age of 35 in ratings, which beat Frasier, Scrubs, and 24. All pretty good shows at the time. I didn't watch any of them, but I heard they were pretty good. Some speculators stated that this was a solid start to what would one day soon be a great Superman TV series. A little corny on the surface, but it does show a subversively witty spin on the comic book myths. A very common criticism of the first season was the use of the villain of the week storyline. Alright, so starting now, we're going to be talking about the pilot episode of Season 1. So, we're going to open up with a flashback of the day Clark showed up on Earth. We start getting all the players on the table quick, fast, and in a hurry. We got young Lex Luthor and his dad, Lionel. Lionel's reading a newspaper that says the Oliver Queen has gone missing. So I'm pretty sure this has nothing to do with the immediate plot. It's just really cool, so I want to put it in here. But more importantly, we got John and Martha Kent wishing that they had a kid. We got some cute kid and her mom, and BAM! Meteor shower. Time for some explosions. What's with that kid? Hey, try not to cry too much. Anyway, yeah. Lex runs into a cornfield and sees some kid strapped up onto a scarecrow and is like, well, shit. And to be honest, so was I. Lex loses his hair that day and Lionel goes home and buys some Head and Shoulders, and I guess they call it a day. John and Martha find Clark in the ship and for some reason leave the ship. I guess it's the 80s at this point, so who really knows? But now we're in present day. Yeah, Kansas is okay. So now what? Let's introduce some more characters. So Clark goes to school and we get introduced to Chloe Sullivan. She's a girl you know that takes everything so seriously. I could talk about this girl for, I don't know, forever. But number one, in real life, she got caught up doing a sex trafficking ring. And number two, Chloe sucks. No one reads the newspaper, Chloe. It's 2001. Get with the times. Okay, yeah. Pete's here too. Pete's freaking out because he doesn't want to be this year's scarecrow. What's a scarecrow? Well, it's this guy. Remember the guy that was strapped up to the scarecrow with the Superman S on his chest? Well, I guess that's S for Smallville, or Scarecrow, or something. But let's not get stuck on the small details and forget that that shit is fucking hazing. Not only that shit caused a kid to die, and the school still practices this ritual to this day. Damn. I guess it's not easy growing up anywhere. Clark wants to say hi to Lana, but she has a meteor rock necklace, and when he tries to get close to her, this happens.
3, 4, 5.
Statistical fact. Clark Kent can't get within 5 feet of Lana Lang without turning into a total freak
Next,
show.
we got Lana and Whitney. I like Whitney. Trust me, this guy ain't all bad. He's just going through some stuff. Now, for the most important character and the most important scene in the entire show. Lex in a car, Clark on a bridge, car meet Clark, Lex what the fuck. Now, I'm going to skip over the scenes of Clark spying on Lana through a telescope because I'm not too sure that 2019 wants their superheroes to be spying on their neighbors. For shame, Clark, at least go talk to her. But before that, Lex. So, Lex is generally a good guy in this episode. He's currently in Smallville to take over the local fertilizer branch there for Luthor Corp. And the car accident that he got in with Clark has him wondering how his life keeps on being spared from disaster, especially in Smallville. So he buys Clark a truck as a token of his appreciation. Nice. I wish I had rich friends. Clark's pretty hyped about it. But old man Hank Hill don't like new trucks. He says they don't take handouts from no Luthors, and he better not be catching this boy using his powers all willy-nilly, because with great powers come great... Wait, we'll get to that. But first, let's take a look at Clark's alien stuff. Weird shit's happening to you. It's because you're a weirdo, son. And like weirdos do, Clark and Lana have a conversation in a graveyard. And Whitney ain't having none of that shit. The next day, there's a big commotion over the murders that happened, and Chloe is able to recognize the zombie guy as one of the kids who went missing. How is she able to do this? Transition to the torch. We get our first glance at the torch, the newspaper at the high school, and the wall of weird. Chloe's wall of supernatural occurrences around Smallville, and this girl. Remember this girl? It's too bad this show wasn't made in 2019. At least then this picture would have photo credits. How did they get this picture? Let's go back to the scene really quick. Okay, so who took this fucking picture? This is bananas. Cut to Whitney. There he is. Told you he wasn't gonna like you talking to his girl. Oh shit, he's got a meteor rock. What are they gonna do with... Oh shit. This is hazing. This is legit hazing. This guy could die out there. Didn't somebody already die?
Doesn't matter.
Lex saves Clark. Lex finds a meteor rock. Zombie kid goes back to school because he saw what happened to Clark and he wants to avenge him in his own weird way. Clark cuts him off because he's super fast, and then he gets hit by a car, and we find out that he's super strong. Not Superman strong, just super strong. Whatever that means. Clark douses the guy with water, and we're done with this bad guy. Ooh, now you get to go to the dance and have a good time with your friend or be a creep. Okay, great. So what we learned? We learned that Clark came down when he was about 4 or 5 years old. We learned that there are people around, notable people in the DC universe that are around and are existing, even if we might not see them for a while. We see that meteor rocks are all over the place in Smallville, so they could possibly be in other places of the world. And we also see the weird ways that meteor rocks affect the human biology. So if that's what it does to humans, we can only wonder what it does with the rest of the world. So that being said, we're going to move on to the main portion of our video, episodes 2 through 7, the Freaks of the Week. So, what is a Freak of the Week? It is a simple storytelling practice of using forgettable or easily beatable villains in a number of different ways in order to 1. Help the hero build up their power set, 2. World build, and most importantly, number 3, character build. Like I said before, there's been a lot of controversy around the episodic nature of these episodes. So, at this point, I might as well just go in chronological order. Episode 2. Hey, remember I said this show came out in the early 2000s? Well, the actual date was October of 2001. That doesn't mean much now, but back then it was a big deal. You see, a movie called Spider-Man was coming out in April by some people that they didn't like, about some freaky nerd who likes bugs or something like that. Well, Warner Brothers had to show everyone that their heroes aren't nerds. They're Kansas State Americans, where we like beer and football and hazing. And where am I going with this? Oh yeah, bugs are bad. This is Clark's second villain. At this point in the show, what we are seeking to establish is that meteor rocks have been in the soil for 12 plus years, and they've had lasting repercussions on the environment. These bugs were born near some meteor rocks or something. Bugs evolve at an exponential rate compared to humans, so naturally they're going to be more susceptible and have a quicker, noticeable reaction to the contamination. Solid. Plus, we get the scene. It's actually pretty good. So, what's Clark doing during all this? Well, viewer, thanks for asking. He's levitating / having wet dreams about Lana, but that's okay, because that's normal high school stuff. Let's move on. Good guy Whitney says no hard feelings to Clark. Lana gets hit on by the bug guy. Pa Kent doesn't like Lex, probably because he doesn't pay for shit he can obviously afford. Go figure. Long story short, Lex wants to help save the farm because Clark saved him. Bug guy wants Lana, so he tried to kill Whitney by flipping his car, and we... Okay, at this point, Clark starts freaking out about what's happening to him. Lex lights the meteor rock necklace and keeps it in a lead box, and so that he can give it to Clark later. Then he goes and visits Lana to go ask her about Whitney, or Clark, or her aunt, or something. Okay, stop. It might just be me, but the fact that we can't tell this guy's age is making all of his conversations with Lana a little weird. I think she's like 14, 15, or something, maybe? They're freshmen. I know that. That's why they're afraid of being picked on for Scarecrow last episode. Wait, and if that's true, then what is Whitney? Is Whitney a senior? Dog, what the fuck? Is Lana doing his homework?
I was wondering if you could do me a humongous favor. Could you check over my English paper? I didn't finish it till 2 a.m., so I'm not too sure about the ending.
I bet it's great.
That can't be good. Anyway, yeah, Lex has got to be a solid 22. Oh yeah, back to the bug guy. Check this out. He killed his mom. Fucked up, right? That's not the only thing that's fucked up. He sheds into a tub. That's going to get backed up. That's going to fuck up the plumbing. Do you have any idea how much that's going to cost to fix? You're a menace to society, Spider-Man. Where'd that come from? Either way, Chloe helps him track the guy down. Clark wins a fight. Yay, everyone wins. Episode 3. Fuck yeah. Football.
No more, Mr. Nice Guy. No more, Mr. Hee.
Alright, teamwork. Define the odds. Leadership. Celebration. Sweat. Wait, is he Steven with the meteor rocks? Hey, it's Principal Quan. Remember this guy? He's got a son walking around. 2 Asians in the whole show. One's a principal and one's his son. Gotta love 2001. Anyway, so yeah, PK is mad because the coach is messing with students' grades in order to keep them eligible to play for the rest of the season. And he says that's not going to teach the kids any lessons. But I mean, if you're going to be teaching the kids lessons, shouldn't you be teaching them the lesson that if you're really, 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 really good at something, that the whole world will bend over backwards for you? That's the life lesson here, PK. So the problem is that the coach wants Clark to man up, join the football team, and step out of his dad's shadow. Here, let him say it.
Time when you gotta step out of your father's shadow and be your own man.
Obviously, Clark can't do that because, like his dad Hank Hill says, that's cheating, son. Nah, it's all about Clark's instincts. Like he could have a gut reaction, and next thing you know, the kid's decapitated, and Clark's getting experimented on. It's a whole thing. So, obviously, Clark joins the team because who wouldn't? He shows off a little too much. At this point, this is when Principal Quan tells the coach to cut the shit. You may have been working here for 20 years, but cut the shit. Quit changing people's grades. Quit doing what you're doing. And that's when we find out the coach is a fucking fire starter. Cool. First thing he does is burn some of his office with the fucking principal looking right at him. The principal tries to run away, and then... Don't worry, Clark's there. But seriously, how many cars are going to blow up in this show? At this point, the coach is heated and calls a surprise meeting where he does this. So we haven't checked in with Lex since he checked in with Lana last episode. With all the rigors of running a subdivision of a Fortune 500 company, he must have his hands tied. Okay, we'll come back to Lex. Chloe, what is Diet Detective Chloe doing? Well, she ran into a player who's feeling guilty, guilted him into giving information about the coach and was sloppy about it, and now the coach knows and the torch is, well, torched. Clark finds out and tries to stop the coach and gets himself locked in the steam room with the meteor rocks, and he's pretty much left there to die. I'm guessing there was no long-term plan for this because the coach just leaves him there so he can go out and coach the game, which is directly outside. Logic, not just a bad rapper. Pa Kent finds Clark. Listen to your elders, kids. And Clark beats the bad guy by being able to stand on fire without burning for longer. Episode 4. Lex with a backpack? Yeah, nah, this ain't Lex. So, this is the X-ray vision episode. This is where Clark figures out that he can see through people's clothes and skin and everything, more or less. But us as a viewer, we get to see yet another way the meteor rocks affect a person's DNA. This person has a green skeleton because of reasons. She's a shapeshifter. She's currently turned into Lex Luthor in order to steal money from this bank. Either way, a lot of stuff happened and her mom died. Kind of like a chump too when you think about it. I guess they can't all be car crashes. So at this point, Lex is cooling. Even though he's being framed, he's got an alibi, so don't worry about him. Worry about this. At this point, it's becoming a trend that Clark is getting his powers as a result of puberty. I, as a viewer, would believe this if he didn't look like he was 25. But who am I? Really? Oh, we find out that Lana and the Shapeshifter used to be friends, and the Shapeshifter is a hater for real. Also, her mom was some lady that worked at a refurbishment shop, and the Shapeshifter is turning into her to keep up appearances, but of course, Clark and Ma Kent got some errands to do. Anyway, this is when we meet
Roger Nixon, Metropolis Inquisitor.
He tries to blackmail Lex. He's got his juvenile records. I guess they were right, kids. You should be worried about your permanent record. There's this scene. And this scene. So yeah, this bitch is officially bad news bears. Lana and Diet Detective Chloe are doing some Diet Detective work, and apparently so is Lex. Yeah, remember?
Roger Nixon, Metropolis Inquisitor.
Turns out, he's being used as a plot device to show us the more evil side of Lex. I mean, look at him. He's in an all-black room, wearing all black. That's some evil shit. By the end of this scene, he pretty much has the tables turned, and this news guy now works for Lex. Hashtag real Lex shit. Hashtag flex Lex. Hashtag chestnut checkers. Hashtag I got my car in my garage under a spotlight because I'm a fanatic. Hashtag here's a pic of that. Okay, so now go home, Roger. We're done with you now. Well, shit. We gotta get rid of this shape-shifting girl somehow, and Chloe is busy hanging out with Lana. So now what? I guess we'll ask Pete. Pete, do you have anything that could help us move this plot along?
So you're telling me that Tina Gray can bend her bones like a contortionist and become anybody she wants?
Saw with my own eyes.
I'm sorry. This is usually Chloe's territory. I cover girls, football, and general guy stuff. She does the tales of the unexplained, so why don't you give her a call?
Thanks for your help, Pete. You know what? Lana's a weirdo. She's probably hanging out in the graveyard again. Go check that out. Go look for her mom's grave so we can get that graveyard fight and get this over with.
She's dead.
Episode 5. Alright, episode 5. This is the episode that starts the trend of Chloe having a really bad taste in men. Every guy she'll meet from here on out that has any type of interest in her will try to kill her. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. We haven't even met the guy yet. We start the episode with seeing a bunch of meteor rocks on the bottom of a lake. What lake? Well, there's a high school party that's happening right now by a frozen lake in the middle of winter. I live in Arizona, so I just want to stop this video and say that looks like a bunch of... No, I ain't doing that. Clark, however, is able to stay warm in unnaturally cold temperatures. This is all reaching back to the fact that his power is derived from sunlight. He absorbs sunlight and turns that into energy, like the chlorophyll in a plant or the melanin in our skin. But while we're doing all this learning, we're missing the fact that the guy in the football team just asked Chloe out, and we missed out on this learning session on Chloe's obvious insecurity.
Don't sound so shocked, Clark. Guys do find me attractive even though I don't have raven hair and the initials LL.
That's not what I meant.
Hey, for real, Clark, stay away from her. If she just got a date with a dude, why is she worried about you and what Lana got going on? Anyway, just like the rest of us, it looks like the kid would rather die than go on a date with Chloe because he falls into the lake and freezes to death. I was going to go on a long tangent about his powers, but he's basically a diet Killer Frost from the Flash show. He absorbs heat from the atmosphere. His method of choice is human life. So he grabs the people, he absorbs the heat out of them, they're done, he's good. But that's later in the episode. We'll get to that. Meanwhile, Lex is asking Martha why John just won't let them buy the property from under them. The way Lex puts it, it's doing a favor for a friend. But I don't know, Lex, you're wearing a lot of black now, so I don't know if I should trust you. Lana's mad at Whitney because he forgot their date to Metropolis, so now's your chance, Clark. And would you look at that? Lex is walking up and giving Clark some Radiohead tickets. Whoever they are.
A high school boyfriend isn't a husband. He's an obstacle.
While Clark is getting dates, we find out that Chloe was given the cold shoulder by Bobby Drake over here. Cold Kid wants to meet up with Chloe to say sorry and probably kill her. Chloe says nah, because she has standards. And he meets up with another girl and kills her by freezing her to death. Sucks. At least Clark has a date tonight. Well, what are the parents going to do right now while the sun is out? Well, Lex knows that all good deals start with a lie, so he lies to them to get them over to his mansion that just so happens to be one room. He tries to liquor them up so they approve the deal, and they don't. So, Clark and Lana are in Lex's limo on the way to the concert, and they hear on the news that one of their friends died. So naturally, they can't go to the concert. It's a little weird, but okay. I mean, I would still have gone to the concert. How well do you really know Dead Girl number 3? Because she's Chloe, she doesn't stand on her morals, and she caves and she goes to see that frozen guy at school, after hours, at the pool. Weird. Okay, though. Chloe falls into the pool, tries to get out, but her leg gets frozen, and Clark saves her, and they go back to the torch to come up with a plan. Easy enough. Earlier, Clark bailed on Lana, so Whitney had to go pick her up. Sucks. Slacked. But this gives them a reason to run into the frozen guy on the street. The frozen guy goes up to Luther's mansion because that's where some electric generators are, and for some reason he decides that that's going to be what energizes him. The lights in the mansion shut off, and I guess cars don't mean shit in this town. Lana and Whitney runs to the mansion, and Clark runs into the frozen guy. This is where we get to see Clark come back from something that would have normally killed somebody. With ease, though. This man is on fire. Alright, episode 6. I like to call this one Old Lady, Young Man. So, this one's my favorite one out of the first 7 episodes. For whatever reason, they got a project to go to the old folks' home from their school. I don't know. Lana, Clark, and Pete have to go help out some old people at the old people place. The old lady that Clark met can see the future, kind of. And this old guy used to be a serial killer, and then he fell into this pond, and he gets to be a serial killer again. Plus, he looks like the bad guy from Extremely Goofy movie, so that's cool. The lady basically tells Clark that someone close to him is gonna die, but she doesn't know how or why or when. Psychics, right? At this point, the bad guy from the Goofy movie is dead set on killing a barista. That would be a cool plot on its own, right? But we got visions to look at. Clark, naturally, has no idea what any of this means in his vision, so he spends the next few days just regularly visiting the old lady, and they actually become okay friends. Dude that turned into a young man still stalks his barista, and he's about to go take her out to kill her, and Clark shows up.
I said let her go.
This marks the first time, but certainly not the last time, that we're gonna see this sequence.
Respect your elders.
This guy gets arrested, but he turns back into an old man before the cops get there, so they don't really know what to do except take the old bastard back to the old folks' home. We haven't seen much of Lex this episode, so here he is, showing Clark his crazy car project. Clark understandably doesn't want Lex snooping around, so he thinks to himself if he can have Lex talk to the old lady, then maybe it will give him some sense of direction, so that he will leave the mystery of why he lived on that bridge that day alone. He jumps back into the pond and turns young again. Turns out he has an MO. He's going after family members of a bunch of old dead people, and one of them is Martha Kent. Dun dun dun! Actually, don't worry. Martha is gonna handle herself. She almost died in the process, but I'm pretty sure she definitely killed that guy. The next day, Lex goes to see the old lady, and he has this vision.
You're the last person I expected to walk through my door.
Alright, we made it. Episode 7, the last of the Freak of the Week episodes for this season. The final episode and portion of this week's video. The Fat Sucker. The episode. We made it. Remember how in the second episode we were dealing with bugs that had been exposed to meteor rock infected soil? Well, what happens to the plants that are grown in that same soil? Moreover, the fertilizer from Luther Court plant. We basically get this fat white girl who's been making health shakes that she's been growing in her greenhouse. Like most fat white girls on TV in 2001, nobody's nice to her except our heroes of the show, namely Pete. It's actually kind of funny. They call him a chubby chaser because of that.
Dust him back off. Ooh, chill out, cool guy. I didn't know you were a chubby chaser.
This understandably upsets the girl, and she goes home and makes more shakes. The thing is, though, it works. She drops like 20 pounds in a couple of seconds while standing on the scale. High five for healthy habits. Speaking about health, Lex has a doctor making a house call because he can do this because he's rich, I guess, not because it's the year 1873. And the doctor basically says he has an irregularly high white blood cell count. It's not cancer, but it's weird. Lex believes this irregularity is closely linked to the meteor rocks known to be in this area. Well, it can't all be depressing in Smallville because it's birthday season. Yay! Lana and Clark are planning her big birthday party. What is she, like 15, 16 now? I don't get it. Honestly though, Clark, this is friend zone shit. Do better. Back to the fat girl. Guess what? Those shakes had side effects, and it's mostly this. I mean, that's not so bad. It's understandable that her body might be burning through a little bit more energy than what the fuck is she gonna eat that deer? Well, shit. Because she's well connected, Chloe hears about this immediately and deems it interesting enough to be on the wall of weird. She takes Clark to the vet that the deer was taken to so that they can do some sleuthing. You know, sometimes that wall of weird really helps and does put some things into perspective. It would really suck if this wall fell into the wrong hands. And here's Lex at the high school looking at the wall of weird. Pete making sure that his date is still on with the now skinny girl. And the guy who called Pete a chubby chaser is now hitting on the now skinny girl. She takes his opportunity to lead him down to the boiler room and eat him. Can I just say that there's a lot of attempted murder here? Like, how does a school deal with attempted murder like this? Like, do they have a protocol for it? Whatever. Lex checks out the place that is owned by Dr. Hamilton that he heard about from Chloe. Hamilton here collects and sells experiments with meteor rocks. This sounds like it's right up Lex's alley. Lex wants the guy to do some research for him, but Dr. H ain't biting. Yet. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Lana's party is at Lex's house, by the way. And while making small talk with Lana, we find out that Lex may have had something to do with Whitney getting accepted into college out of state. I'm not too sure if he's doing this to help out Clark or to get with Lana, to be honest. Again, he's a solid 23. Maybe. Pete goes to pick up his date and she almost eats him. Shit, what'd that mouth really do? Clark shows up and chases her down to the greenhouse, which has meteor rocks all up in it, so he gets real weak. He gets smacked up across the side of the face with a shovel a couple times, and we get another explosion. Nice. This is the best one yet. Pete's clueless, Lana's lonely, Lex is healthy, Dr. Hamilton is a former sex offender, and Lex Luthor's new party. Okay, end of season 1 of How Did We Get Here? I'm sorry, end of episode 1 of How Did We Get Here? We still have the second part of season 1 coming out next week.